That's more like it. It shouldn't be this hard for this team to be the aggressor on home ice and get this record back above 500.
You're telling me that's some good eating of our Canadian visitors down at Bridgestone.
Everybody's hands go up, way up, as the Nashville Predators defeat the Ottawa Senators by a final score of 4-1 Tuesday night inside Bridgestone Arena. In a game where the captain led the way with 2 goals and 1 assist, and the Preds shut down defensively and amazingly didn't allow the Ottawa Senators one single shot on goal in a third period. The Preds wanted to impress the fans after their last home game before the 5-game road trip. The Preds have now won 6 games in a row. Now playing their first game of a 5-game homestand after sweeping, amazingly, that 5-game road trip. Preds have the jump early on Corpusel. Imagine that. The last time the Preds were at home before this game, it took them 20 minutes almost to get 1 shot. In this game, it only took them 27 seconds. Thus, it shouldn't come as a surprise that with this Preds great jump start, that something would spark rather quick. Preds are attacking in the center zone when Roman Josi gets the puck over to big sexy Michael McCarron, who just spins around and lets the shot go through an unexpected Jonas Corpusalo. Already 9 goals in the season for Michael McCarron, and just like that, the Preds have a 1-0 lead. Soon after that, Cody Glass would enter the center zone alone, getting what would appear to be a partial break, but he's tripped down, and the refs called a tripping call. I would have preferred a penalty shot. I think Cody deserved it, but no worries, because the Preds would get some solid looks. It would take a while on the power play. Just when you thought this might be a power play that the Preds would let expire without cashing in, you've got Gustav Nyquist with the puck, who just backhands it to his captain, Roman Josi, from the point, blasted, and it beats Corpusalo. Just like that, the Preds appear hungry right off the hop, fresh off of the road trip, and the Preds have a 2-0 lead on the Sens. Things appear to be going the Preds' way as 8 minutes into the game, Mark Castanet of the Sens asks Michael McCarron for a bout, and McCarron obliges him. What would appear should have been a longer fight lasts quite minimal as Castanet loses his balance, falls back, McCarron falls on top of him. Nobody's injured, and we play on. The Sens would get called for their first power play. And I don't know if you guys caught this, but the refs said number 12 of the Preds for tripping. Did I miss something? Did Mike Fisher sign late in the season again? No. It was Colton Sissons who got called. And though the Sens had some solid looks, props to the Preds for killing it off. The most impressive save on that power play was Tim Stützle, who looked like he had a sure thing, but UC Saros robbed him with the pad. A little concerning in that first period was after the Preds recorded the first 7 shots of the game, almost every single shot afterwards was the Sens until the Preds got a shot on goal late in a period that the Sens outshot the Preds 14-8, including the 1 goal they would score in that period on a power play, a goal by Drake Batherson. Preds fans a little nervous, hoping that because the Preds are home, they're not going to have a letdown game against an inferior team as we finish 20 minutes. First few minutes of the second period, the Sens still controlling the pace of play. Preds are looking to regain the speed and control of the game that they had in the initial part of the first period. Just about 5 minutes into that middle frame, the Preds getting their feet under them. Luke Evangelista has 2 good chances. One of them misses the net, but the other one he got on Corpusalo. Aside from those chances, the Sens still posing a threat for the Preds, but luckily the chances are from the sideboards. Saros doing his best to keep the Preds ahead by one, hoping the boys can get him an insurance goal. Last thing he wants is to be back home and to have to carry the load here, guys. We're in the second half of the second period now. Me getting a little nervous. Still, all of us looking in the back of our minds thinking, is this going to be a trap game? But we're praying, we're having hope that Preds are going to find that spark. But it seems like in the last quarter of the second period, the first of the last 5 minutes elapses. Then the next, and we're waiting, okay, fine. Just get this team to the locker room so they can get their heads a collective shake. But just over 90 seconds left to go in the second period. Preds in transition coming out of the neutral zone into the Sens zone. And you've got Gus Nyquist again, just like the previous goal he set up. Gets it to a flying Roman Josi, who picks up speed as he receives the pass from Nyquist and goes in and snaps it over Korpisalo's glove side, restoring the Preds 2-goal lead. Kara Hammer said in a post-game interview that he was clocked at 23 miles an hour. There you go, Preds Nation. Preds now up 3-1. Preds go into the second period being outshot 25-17 at home, but where it counts, they're up by 2. And yeah, that 25, you're not going to have to worry about that anymore tonight. Preds starting to cook now as 90 seconds into the third period. They have a 2-on-1. Gustav Nyquist with Forsberg. Nyquist tries to keep it because he thinks he can trick the Sens, but he can't beat Korpisalo. Now it's nearly 5 minutes into the third period. Roman Josi has the puck. He waits and holds it and tries to see if he can trick Korpisalo. Lets a shot go that beats Korpisalo but can't beat the post. As you will see when I mention it at the end of the third period, Preds playing a lot better to start the third period than they ever did in the second, and arguably the first, aside from those first few minutes in that initial period. We reached the second half of the final frame. Preds looking to put the Sens away as we reach about 7 minutes left to go in regulation. At that point, the play back in the Sens zone. Preds seem to be swarming. Now, Phil Forsberg lets a shot go from a little bit distance on Korpisalo. It creates a rebound, and look who's there to collect the puck. A man who has been scoring empty netters at will as of late, especially on the road trip. But oh, he must be so relieved he gets to pot this one on a goalie. Korpisalo down on his stomach at his mercy. Gustav Nyquist pots it home, putting this one, you would think, away for good. At that point, 4-1 Preds. Preds keeping their foot on the accelerator at this point through the last quarter of the game, and I mean that. I don't know how many of you realized it in a moment. I didn't until Kara Hammer said it, because I had to watch this on the Sens feed on center ice, and then I went looking for the Preds post game so I could see the 3 stars, and in Kara's interview with Roman, the Sens didn't record a shot on goal in the third period, much less ever before allowing no opponent shots in a period. I want to know the last time the Preds didn't allow the opponent to get a shot on goal in the third period in Bridgestone, because it's exactly what happens. Preds cruise to the end in this one. Got a little nervous in the second period, but everyone breathe, everyone put a smile on their face, go home happy with their Frosty they can get tomorrow as the Preds win comfortably their 6th game in a row, 4-1 final. First thing I gotta say right off the bat, a lot better performance against this Sens team than the last time you played them up in Ottawa when you were beating them 3-0 after 1 and then blew it and lost 4-3 in overtime. That's how you start a homestand. It shouldn't be this way that you're only at 500 at home come the end of February and in a playoff spot. But thank God for that cushion that you've given yourself being such road warriors this season. And hey, the hockey gods blessed you on the out-of-town scoreboard, because both Minnesota and St. Louis lost in regulation. The Preds are both 6 points up on each of those teams. St. Louis has 2 games in hand, and Minnesota just has 1. And guess who comes rolling into town on Thursday? John Hines and his band of misfit toys return to Bridgestone for the last time this regular season on Thursday. I expect you guys to play a lot better than you did the first time he brought that band to town against his former team, and they blew you out of your building. Not to mention in that game, I know a lot of us will always remember Copper Selloff's cheap shot on Alexander Carey that he didn't get suspended for. If you can win that game, preferably in regulation, but get 2 points nonetheless, I'll consider Minnesota out of reach to catch you for the playoffs. Oh, I said that P word. With 22 games left to go, you got a hell of a 2-game stretch here in the middle of the homestand with Minnesota, and then a real measuring stick game on Saturday that I will not mention their name yet before you play Montreal and Buffalo to finish off the homestand next week. But one game at a time. So that's it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. As always, click a like if you like this one. Click subscribe if you really liked it. You can find my social media as always, Preds Nation, where you can interact with me during every Preds game by clicking on a channel name. Tell all your friends about Redemption, and maybe, just maybe, this team has a chance at the P word after all.